There we go. And I'm going to start by sharing my screen with you. My name is Colleen Wayne Butler. I am the program specialist for our early childhood programs for Head Start and Pre-K. And today we're here because your child's going to be going to kindergarten in the fall. And I'm going to give you some tips to help prepare and ease that transition. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask at any point. Feel free to message in the chat if you have a question, or unmute yourself, like I said, and ask questions along the way. Hopefully I answer a lot of them as we go through, but at the end we'll have time to, if you have questions, also maybe more specific ones to your child. All our school districts are different, so I can't answer all the questions, but I'll do my best to help you through this. I know it can be nerve-wracking for everyone, especially if it's your first child going to kindergarten. I know I was a nervous wreck when my son, I think I cried more than he did on the first day of school. So the first thing I wanted to say was that children feel good about themselves and what they can do. They are engaged more fully in learning. So one of the most important things we can do is build up our children, right? One way to provide that, make them feel good and comfortable, is to give them information in advance on any kind of predictable change that they're going to be going through. So one of the things that we know that they're going to go to kindergarten. So let's provide them with information to help ease that and make that better, so they feel good and comfortable and secure in their situations. So preparing for the transition to kindergarten, if your child feels prepared, if you've gone to any of the events the schools are having, if you're involved in that process with them, you're going to see fewer learning problems, more positive approaches to learning, fewer conduct problems, greater frustration tolerance, and better social skills. Right now, your children have already, adjusted to coming to preschool. And that was a big transition for some children. It could have been the first time they ever left home away from you. And I'm sure some children had a hard time with that. And so even being involved in preschool, you're already one step, closer to a smoother transition to kindergarten. But it is a big difference. Children go from, a safe environment where they've been all year to another new one. And that can be really scary for them. So we want to make sure that we make them feel comfortable, secure, and that you feel comfortable and secure in that transition also, because you have to meet new teachers and learn new rules, and every school is different. So all the transitions your child experiences are big, but kindergarten is one of the biggest ones for our children at 5. The transition to kindergarten can be a time of they could be very excited for it. You could be very excited for it, but also can be scary and uncertain. And we want to make sure that the children, hold on, I'm just gonna let someone in. We want to make sure that the children understand what the transition is going to be like, and that we're preparing them for that transition, that they know what to expect, because a lot of times the fear of the unknown, right, is the worst part. So we want to make sure that the children understand what's going to happen in the fall, that they're going to be going to a different school, that they're going to have a different teacher, that things are going to be a little different. And the more you talk about it, the more you're excited about it, the more excited they become. And research shows that the more involved parents are in the transition to kindergarten, in that process, the higher your child's self-esteem becomes and the overall happiness in kindergarten. So the more you're involved and the more things that you do in that transition your child, the better. So I'd just like to show some statistics, because I think it's kind of eye-opening for everyone when they see them, is how successful children are entering kindergarten. So this was a study across the country, and about 48% of children have some moderate or severe difficulties transitioning to kindergarten. So that's a lot if you think about a classroom where, let's say, half the kids are having a hard time, how that can affect their learning abilities, and how it affects their ability to make friends and develop those relationships we want them to. these are some of the top issues that teachers say that children exhibit when they go to kindergarten. The number one is following directions. And I think as a parent of a preschooler, you know that can be a struggle. It's sometimes you're wondering if they can hear, right? We want to get their hearing tested, but that's one thing that teachers are seeing going into kindergarten is a difficulty for them. Lack of academic skills, difficulty working independently, difficult working as a group, problem with social skills, and difficulty communication. We want to make sure that we're preparing our children academically, but if you can look at this, you see that there's so much more that is required of them when they go to kindergarten. We want to make sure that they have self-control, self-regulation, they have social emotional skills. And one of the big things through our programming here at Community Action is we really focus on that social emotional development. So you're giving your child a really good foundation, because without that, they can't learn the academics. So hopefully they've really progressed in those areas this school year, and they're ready to learn in kindergarten. They don't have to know everything when they walk in the door, but they have to be able to have the ability to learn, and setting those things up now is going to make a huge difference for them. So one thing I like to show families is the difference between preschool and kindergarten. Yes, your child's coming to school right now. They're going to school 5 days a week. They're getting in that routine of going to school, but it is different. If you look at this chart, you can see that the yellow is pre-K, and then the bluish color is kindergarten. So that free choice, there's a lot of that in pre-K. It's not developmentally appropriate for us to have children doing very, very structured things at 3 and 4, because their bodies can't do that. Their brains aren't ready to do that. So we do a lot of free choice, allowing them to choose, because they're learning as they're doing that. And we're able to develop and facilitate things in a way that they're learning through play, which is so important. But when they get to kindergarten, that kind of changes, because the curriculum they use and the standards that they have to follow are different than preschool standards. Although as the year goes on, we try to, transition them into getting used to that, we still know that developmentally at their age, it's not appropriate to do hardly any choice time for them. You'll also see that at the individual work, there's less individual work in preschool and a lot more in kindergarten. So that's something that to think about at home is, having them stay on task and complete something. Because that's something that's hard for preschoolers to do. They kind of have a very short attention span. So we want to set timers maybe for 10 minutes. Let's work on something for 10 minutes and see, how they can attend to that. Small group is about the same. And then whole group, there's a lot more of that. So children get a lot less individual one-on-one time with teachers in kindergarten, and they have a lot more independent work they have to do. So we want to prep our kids to be ready for that, because it is a big difference. Like I said, giving your child tasks to complete, even if it's a puzzle or sorting socks or helping set the table, things like that, where they have to do it on their own. Even though it might be easier for us to do it ourselves, we got to give them the opportunity to have that independence and be able to do that, because they're going to need to have those skills when they go to kindergarten. So your role in that success is you want to show your child that their education is important to you. And you're already doing that. You know, as part of being part of pre-K, Head Start and pre-K, you are already showing your child that education is important. This sets your child up to do well in school, and that makes them more interested in learning. You also want to make sure your child attends school every day. You're doing that already too, showing them that attendance is important. This is going to help them in their future in school, but also as they get older, you're developing, knowing that a job they have in the future, that going to work every day is important. We make commitments, we have to follow through with them. So we want to make sure that our child's attendance is, just because they didn't feel like getting up in the morning isn't a good reason not to go to school. Obviously if they're sick, you keep them home, but we want to make sure that they know the importance of attending school every day. Obviously, reading to your child. And if you have participated in our Orville's reading program, you're already doing that at home. That's something that's going to happen a lot more in kindergarten. That's one of the reasons why we do Orville, is because you'll have that take-home folder in kindergarten that your child is responsible for bringing back and forth to school. So we're having them practice that now. And we're also having practice reading every night, just so when we all know how important reading is with our child. It's a great bonding time for our children and us. And it's also so important to get those early literacy skills in. You want to monitor their academic performance, work with the teachers, talk with the teachers about any concerns and any of your concerns, and keeping that open communication with the teacher, so you know before it's gone on for far too long where you feel like overwhelmed with, okay, I didn't realize my child was having trouble with this. Stay in contact with the teacher and talk to them. The best way to do that, I say, is we use Parent Square, and I think a lot of the districts also, and you can message directly through that, or email, because a lot of times when we call schools, teachers are busy, they're in class, but an email, they can check on their, the few minutes they have in between to respond to you. And that's usually the easiest way to get a hold of teachers, either through their parent communication system or their email address. This is a video that Head Start created. They went to interview children who are in kindergarten. They're finishing up their first year, and talk to them about their experience, and it's their point of view. And I think it's really cute, and I think it really tells us what children's main concerns are, and it's something that we need to know. So I'll just play this for you. Hopefully. Just let me know if you can't hear it.
It's going to be really fun when you move into kindergarten. I just think ABC. You have to be quiet when the bell rings in circle. When I see other kindergartners, I think about how I used to be in kindergarten. You had to line up from alphabetical order of your first or last name. And I lined up for like recess and lunch and going to the library and PE and music.
Why do you line up?
So I don't get a glob.
I'm waiting until everyone is in a nice straight line in the middle of the hallway.
Yeah. For leaving play court or leaving school or arriving, you have to walk in a straight line. Get on the school bus and just drive to school. When I rode the bus for the first time, I felt nervous. It has yellow everywhere and it has black windows. It gets from home to here, then from here to home. This is my class, but this is the light. If you have a big problem or a small problem, Kelso will help you. You have to bring a backpack and a coat. If you get a sack, pack some of your things in it for show and share. I was wearing first day of school clothes. On my first day, I thought I wouldn't make any friends, and then I did. I was nervous that the other kids would be mean to me. I was scared to have a new teacher. But I was scared. I didn't know where everything was and stuff. My mom helped me find my seat. And I was sad too because my mom was gonna leave. But until I saw my mom in the hallway, she gave me a hug. My teacher said all the parents have to leave. I gave my mom a hug. We sing our morning song, and then we go to our journals and then put them in our folders. We listen to the teachers. We read with our friends. We learn math. Sometimes we wrote stories together. We learn the schedule, and we go to gym and do music. But she hasn't. I don't know how to snap. Shaking the maracas. We do journal. What did you write about in your journal today? we write how we're feeling, like if we're scared, sad, mad, happy. I forgot what we were talking about. No, when we're feeling safe.
Kindergarten's fun.
Kindergarten rocks. Goodbye, goodbye. Whoa, we gotta go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Goodbye, goodbye. Whoa, we gotta go. Yeah, 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 yeah.
There, sorry, I couldn't get it to leave the video. So one of the things that you heard consistently from the children when they were talking about their first day of school is how scared they were. Not knowing what to expect, not knowing what friends would be there, not knowing who their teacher was going to be, or having to meet a new teacher. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to participate in any transition thing that the school your child's going to is happening. They're going to have kindergarten registration. Some districts do a transition just for kindergartners. They might have a summer program going on. They will have a special, Watertown has a special kindergarten nights called Ready, Set, Go that they do. You really want to make sure you participate in those things because it makes the transition so much easier for your child, letting them see the school they're going to, and seeing some of the faces they may see. And when you're there, you might see some of their friends from school this year. So typically, a lot of times they will see friends from the school that they're in right now, in the classroom they're in right now, next year. So letting them know that they could see some familiar faces is always helpful. I got some tips from some of our local school district staff that we work with that I just wanted to share what they wanted to let you know, like things you can do to help your child. Christy from Carthage Central School District, she's a kindergarten teacher. She said, let them play, have children play together by taking turns, sharing, speaking, listening. When it's time to change activities, finish that activity, clean it up before transitioning, jump, climb, run, and all over again. And that's one thing we talked about, is that finishing tasks and taking care of things is so important because that's something they're going to have to do on their own in kindergarten. Christina Chamberlain, she wanted to let parents know to take time and enjoy time with your child, talk to your child about the world around them, explore the outdoors, and encourage questions. Read to your child every day, encourage imagination through stories, colors, and pretend play, making games out of learning, sing songs, and have fun. A Watertown kindergarten teacher said, I would like to let parents know that it would be very helpful to give their students exposure to capital and lowercase letters and numbers to 20. Also, it'd be helpful to teach them to write their names using capital letter and the first letter and lowercase the rest. And I know that's a lot of times people tend to teach children to write their name with all capitals, and then they have to relearn it. So it's important, if you're teaching your child to write their name, to do that capital letter first and then the lowercase. Tracy from Watertown City School District, she says following directions is very important. And these are some things that she suggests parents to do. Have them walk to the door and knock on it, pick up the cup and put it in the sink, pick up a pencil and draw a circle on the paper, find the color blue and write the letters ACT. You can see how just little things you do at home with your child, you don't need anything fancy or expensive to get them ready for kindergarten. It's just little things like that, getting them to follow directions. A lot of times children developmentally start out only be able to follow one step, and then we add another step to it and we build up on that. And they're going to need to do that for kindergarten to be able to follow directions from the teacher. So doing those little things at home is going to make a big difference. Pam from Copenhagen says the best early education you can provide is your incoming kindergartens is talking, offering opportunities to explore their world and answering their endless questions, because we know they always have a ton. By doing these things, you're building your child's oral language and encouraging him to notice and wonder. These are some tips from different teachers things that they need to know: their first and last name, how to hold a pencil, crayon and marker, how to use scissors, how to sit still for 10 to 20 minutes at a time, which sometimes we wonder if they can make it a minute, how to take care of their own bathroom needs, how to work together in a group and get along with others, and how to follow multiple step directions. So we want to develop the foundations of learning. And we talked about some academic things, but a lot of that has to start. You can't learn those things unless you have those basic skills down. So we want to make sure that we help children develop that independence at home. And I've said that many times through this, how important that is. Encourage them to dress themselves, hang up their belongings, practice using the bathroom without help. Hold on, I have some people in the waiting room. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. We're going to focus on those self-help skills, having them blow their own nose and express, you know, if they're feeling nervous. We want them to be able to ask for help if they need it also. So we don't want them to be afraid to ask for help when times they need it. We want to teach them responsibility. So picking up their things before they move on to something else is a big learning process for preschoolers. But we want them to be comfortable doing that and knowing that that's something they need to do. So having them put away their things after you go to a trip to the park, or having them help pack the bag when you go to the park. What would they need? Have them think about that stuff and be responsible for it. Develop and follow routines. And we're going to talk about that more, of how important it is to develop a morning routine with your child over the summer and practice it, getting up around the same time every day, getting dressed and having an early breakfast together. This is a great way to prepare that transition. Obviously, we're going to read aloud to our child all summer long. And don't just read books. You can read captions under pictures in the newspaper. You can read labels in the store. All those things are so important, like those meaningful literacy things. You want them to start making scribbles on paper. All that stuff is the foundation of writing. And then have them start drawing letters. So those are things they've been doing throughout the year. All that is developmentally, it's building on their writing skills. So they start out scribbling and they start doing circles, a lot of circles and lines, and all that. Every letter is made from those things. So if they're doing those things and they're not there drawing letters yet, it's okay. That's their basis. They're going to build on that. And then you're going to want to acknowledge their feelings. Listen to them if they say they're nervous and scared about kindergarten, or if they're excited. Listen and reassure them when it's needed. And if talking about it too much is too much for them, then don't talk as much about it. Wait until it's closer to kind of time for them to transition. If you feel that your child, you know, is having a hard time with it now, talking about it now, give it some time, because sometimes kids, that's too overwhelming for them. Other children need to talk about it a lot and need to talk about it earlier. So you just have to, you know, your child best and what would be best for them. But we want to not worry as much about being ready to read and write, and think about their skills as a whole. What do they do well? What they're doing well now is going to help them succeed. So we want to build on those things and really set that foundation to learning. A child that has a hard time, you know, with self-regulation and handling their emotions isn't going to be able to learn how to do the other stuff. So we want to work on those things that they're struggling with right now. But every child is ready for kindergarten. They just all need a little something different. And you know your child best and what they would need. So to ease that transition, where you're going to talk about school with your child, become informed, talk to the school, find out what the rules are for the new school they're going to. One great thing is, once you find out who your child teacher is, ask them what the classroom's rules would be and see if they can email those to you so you can talk about it with your child. Obviously, you're going to read and you're going to become familiar with what the school differences between preschool and kindergarten, and talk to your child about those things. So I'm just going to share some ideas for summers to help you continue your child's growth and development and get ready for kindergarten. Walk that route to school or drive by it and show them it often. Attend any transition events that the school offers. You want to go to registration, and you want to go to that meet the teacher night. Usually they do that a little earlier for kindergartners. Spend some time having fun in the school's playground together. So take a trip in the evening to the playground and play. Let them play on it. Become familiar. Make it so it's less of a scary thing and more of a fun experience. And like I said, request a copy of the school rules and the classroom rules so that you can talk about those with your child before school. In the community, spend some time outside, visit the library often. It's a great way to get books and things for your children about kindergarten. Go to the park and the local museums, take advantage of the free events this summer, and just enjoy time with your child. And also take a look at in our community, we have several places that offer free school supplies. And Urban Mission is one of them, and they usually have backpack program. So if that's something that you would like to participate in, just kind of keep an eye out, follow them on Facebook. I know they have their page and they put things out on that. And then at home, you want to create and practice those routines. Like I said, set those routines early and practice them well before school starts, because it takes a long time to create that habit with your child. And the more children need structure and routine, and the more routine it is, the less scary it is. Trying to start that the day before school is too much. It's just going to be stressful for you and your child. So you just want to make sure you practice that in advance. Read to your child, like you said, about kindergarten, and go to the library and get books out about going to kindergarten, and gather those supplies for kindergarten in advance. A lot of stores have the lists already in them. I know Walmart usually has a list in the front of the store of what each school kindergarten teachers are requesting. And if you don't get that and you want it sooner, you could always reach out to the school and ask. And if they've already set your child into a class with a teacher, they might have that list already for you. Also, keep an eye on Parent Square. We'll be sharing things over the summer of events in our communities and stuff that you can do with your child that are fun and free. And the library does so much over the summer. So that week before school, get your child excited about it. Have them pick out the clothes they're going to wear. That's always a big deal. They love, showing off their new clothes. Ask if they have any questions about it. And now it's never too early to start thinking about that before and after school care. If you need before and after school care, start researching that now. You don't want to wait last minute. Those spots do fill up quickly in schools, and it's just an extra stress for you during that transition process. So I would look into that now and call the school your child's going to and find out, what the requirements are for that. And so you're all ready to go. And if it is something your child's going to be doing, let them know about it. And then, you should be probably practicing that bedtime routine and morning routine about 4 weeks before school starts. That gets them in a routine. And then it's just that night before school they're going to have a lot of nervous energy, and they'll be able to wind down much better. You're going to learn about those school rules and routines. So you're already have requested a classroom rules from the teacher. You could ask for the daily schedule, so you can talk about those things that week, what you're going to do in school, such as lunchtime, recess, bus rides, things like that. If your child didn't ride the bus this year, that might be a new experience for them next year. So you want to talk about those things. And one thing you should know, there are seatbelts on the bus, but children, they know and make sure that your child buckles in. So if you want to make sure your child's buckled in, that's something you want to talk about and have them practice using the seatbelt in your car so they can learn how to buckle that seatbelt. Because on the bus itself, no one's going to be on there making sure they have their seatbelt buckled. You want them to learn the names of the teacher, even the secretary and principal and other staff at the school they might come in contact with. Talk about their names and that they're going to see them. You can go on the school website. A lot of times there's pictures of those people on there if your child hasn't seen them yet. And then you're going to review your family schedule and routine with them. Talk to them who's going to take them to the bus stop, who's going to be there to pick them up. Let them be secure in knowing what's going to happen. Not knowing is the worst part. That fear is the worst part. And talk about what your child could have for lunch. Are you going to pack their lunch? Are they going to eat at school? You're going to have a menu. Talk about what food is on the menu. All those things just eases their mind. It makes that transition much easier, and for you too, because you're not trying to learn it all at last minute. And that night before, think of things you can provide to comfort your child when they go off, because even though they've been going to school all year, they're going to be home over the summer and not going, and they're going to have the whole separation again from family. So think about putting a picture of your family in their backpack, put it in a little Ziploc bag so it doesn't get ruined, and put it in their backpack so they can look at it if they need to. The book, The Kissing Hand's a great one where the mother kisses the child's hand, and when they go to school, if they miss mom, they can put their hand to the cheek so they have a kiss on the cheek. You can take that, borrow that book from the library and read that to your child, and then practice that. And then at the end of the day, ask your child to draw a picture of what they think kindergarten is going to be like the next day for school. You're going to want to complete your bedtime routine and start a little early, because they're going to have a lot of nervous energy and probably need a little extra time to wind down. Talk to your child about their morning routine and what to expect the next morning. We're going to get up, we're going to have breakfast, tell about what they want for breakfast, be prepared for that. It makes that first morning back to school a lot less stressful when you both know what's going on. Pack the school lunch. If you're going to bring a lunch, have everything ready the night before so it's less stressful for you, and let them be a part of that. It makes it more special for them. And read a book about kindergarten. There's one called The Night Before Kindergarten. That's a great book to read before your child goes to school. And then that first week, you want to talk to your child about the routines for bed, waking up and getting ready for school. Keep talking about that stuff. The more we talk about it, the more it comes practice with our children. Get up in time and ready and have breakfast unrushed. That's the worst feeling. I know as adults, we feel stressed for the rest of our day when our morning doesn't start off right. So getting up a little early and allowing for that time can make a huge difference. And you want to plan to arrive a little early to school, because those first few weeks, things are a little chaotic. That drop-off line could be crazy. Bus times could be different than, they haven't really been established. So we just want to be a little early for stuff. And if you see your child's friends there, point them out to them so they feel like they know someone already. Obviously, you're going to give lots of hugs every day. And that first few days of school, first few weeks, as you noticed in preschool, oh, shoot, sorry about that. First few weeks of school, it's exhausting for children and parents. So just be ready for, those days where they're just so tired and maybe a little cranky, and check in with them and make sure that they're feeling okay and see how they're doing. Ask them what their favorite, take some time at the end of the day to ask them what their favorite part of the day was, or if there's anything that happened that made them sad. Talk about their feelings. It's really important. And then you want to become a partner with your child's teacher. Developing those relationships with your child's teacher is so important, and it helps them feel like their teacher is someone they can trust too. So you want to talk to them about their academic and social and emotional progress that they've experienced throughout this past year. It's also important for your child's future teacher to hear from you about it. So we talk to them, we share those things with them, but they need to hear you. You're your child's best advocate. You know your child best. So some things you could share, what's something your child's good at? What are some of their favorite things? How does your child learn best? Do they learn best hands-on? Are they good at sitting and listening? What have you found is best for your child? Is there any fears your child might have that the teacher should know about? And what are some ways that provides them comfort? Those are huge things that you can tell the teacher, because they can make a big difference and for them to develop the relationship with your child. And we really want, those relationships are so important for children to have a trusting, positive relationship with their teacher. They'll learn so much better, and they'll retain information better, and they're going to like school and they'll like learning. And let them know the best way to get in touch with you. Like I said, a lot of times using the parent communication apps or email address is just the easiest because you can, when you got a moment, you can respond to it. But if that doesn't work for you, if really you need to talk on the phone, let them know that you really would like to check in on the phone. If that's something that works best for you. Just know that it's everyone that's, you know, transitioning, even if this is your 5th child transitioning, every child's different. And every experience, that transition process is different. So just, you know, do what's best for your child and set up those routines in advance and just help them feel more secure in the whole process of transitioning to kindergarten. Like I said, every district is a little different. So you want to make sure that I can't answer the questions of all districts, but I can generally answer some questions. If anyone had questions about that transition process or anything like that, now's the time to ask.
I will. I know I can never get your classroom phone. Never get your students ever.
Well, if no one has any questions, I really appreciate you coming and sitting through this little workshop. I hope it helped you come up with some ideas, even if it's just one little thing to help make that process a little easier for you and your child. If you ever have questions, my email address is there. Or you can reach out to me through Parent Square. And obviously your child's teachers and family advocates are amazing resources, and they you in that process. Also, if you have some concerns that you know that are specific to your child, make sure you reach out and talk to them, and they may be able to help you with that. But I hope you have a fantastic day and you have a great summer and enjoy your kids, and that your transition is amazing next year. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.